Well, hey guys, what is going on out there today? It's Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. Um, yeah, wherever you are, go ahead, just drop in a first name. Let me know where you are today. That would be cool. Then give me a thumbs up or give me a yes so that you can hear me okay. That would be great. Just you can drop that into the chat area. We're to get started here pretty soon, about 5 minutes. Looks like 11:55 out here in Southern California. I'm out here at California desert, and gorgeous day here. Gorgeous late fall. I don't know, for the desert. It's all good. So, guys, for sure, let me know that you can hear me. Okay. I see we have a few folks on there or on here, but just let me know that you can hear me, and that would be cool so that I know that I'm coming through loud and clear. Today, we're going to talk on something that's really near and dear to me. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give you 12 reasons why you should do this thing, especially in practice. I think it'll pay off for you. So yeah, let's. Hey, Paul, thanks for showing up. Can you hear me? Okay. I know my internet connection is a little dodgy here where we are. Good, Omar. Thank you very much, and Omar, thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, little, birthday boy today. The big 3/4 of a century. Yikes. But what are you going to do? Got to think that you're just a number, just a stinking number. What else is going on? Let me know where you guys are. Omar, where are you today? Paul, same thing. Where are you today? Anyone else? Let me know. Just drop your name and or just let me know where you are today in the comments area. Let me get my notes out here today. Make sure we're all set to roll. We got another 3 minutes before we get started. Hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are. Major Dan, what's going on there, young man? Good to see you. Paul, North Carolina. What part? My wife, mine, and I have been to Charlotte several times to play the husband-wife national clay courts at the Old Providence Racket Club. Love that place. Just classic. Hey, Tom, West Palm Beach, welcome. Thanks for joining in today. Got a few people on here. Loving this. Good. Wilmington, very nice. I'm assuming winter's starting to hit back there in the East Coast. Thank you, John, for letting me know. Detroit, Michigan. Hey, Dan, Orange County. Kevin, what's going on there? Santa Fe, New Mexico. Just had some great time with Jimmy Parker in Mallorca. Jimmy there from Santa Fe. And fun hanging out with him as always. Whoops. Hope everyone's still there. So here's the deal. I got back from Mallorca Sunday night, and I'm still in some severe sleep deprivation. Hi, Don, Florida. Thanks for joining in. We got about 1 more minute here, and I'm going to get started. I do have a bunch of notes today. Want to make sure that I don't miss anything for you. And but yeah, the travel to Mallorca or from Mallorca was an overnight in Frankfurt. That was fine. Stayed at a hotel right there at the airport. And had a great trip. Had an easy trip, nonstop Frankfurt to LAX. But hey, Brent, Chicago, thank you. But wow, it was. Went to sleep Sunday night at about 8:30. Woke up at 1 o'clock. That was it. I was done. last night, Monday, went to sleep around 9:15. Woke up at 1:30. Could not go back to sleep for the life of me, but I've been getting some good exercise, which I think is making me feel better. So, all right, guys, look, I got high noon today, and we've actually got a good crew on here. This is great. I'm assuming we've got some first timers. Yeah, John, I know you're. Hey, Dan. Yeah, man. So before we get started, and if you've been on Facebook, you probably see my posts about my time in Mallorca. Let me give you a 30-second little funny thing here that happened. So we played the team event first week. We got the silver there in my age group 75s, which was, I thought, a good showing. Even though we were seeded 2, we had to get through some tricky teams. Actually, the Swedes we had to get through in the round robin, and then we beat a good team from Austria. Hey, Stan, thanks for joining in the semifinals. Yeah, I had to play number 2 singles. I felt like I had a great win against a really tough guy there from Austria. And then we played Spain in the finals, lost to them 2-1 in the finals. They're tough. They're always tough. But what I was going to say is that the following week is the individual tournament. I was so beat up from the team event that really didn't have much energy for the singles. Won a round and then got thrashed by the guy who, hey, Tim, San Francisco, thank you. And I got thrashed early by this guy from Sweden who actually ended up getting to the finals of the singles, played well, but lost there. But in the doubles, Brian Cheney and I, we get through the quarterfinals. And if you saw my post, it's all about you just got to keep showing up, which is a big part of becoming a better player is just showing up. And there are times when all of a sudden things just fall into place, and whether you play great or whatever, but in this case, we got through to the quarterfinals. We got through the quarterfinals into the semis. The morning of the semifinals, I get a notice from the ITF, International Tennis Federation. Hey, congratulations, you guys have won by default. One of your opponents has an injury. So, okay, so now we're in the finals. And sure enough, same morning, Saturday morning of the finals, I get an email from the ITF saying, congratulations, you've won the event because one of your opponents has an injury. So, look, maybe there's a big asterisk by it. You win a world title, but what are you supposed to do? All you can do is show up. And if the guys are not going to be able to make the call, that's not on you. So, all right, guys, well, let's get rolling here. And I want to say, first of all, welcome. And I know we have some first timers here. So in just a minute, I want to go through just a quick little under 60-second bio for those of you guys who know me already. Hang with me through that. But I want to tell you what we're going to work on today. And the title is Smooth, and why the payoff is so big for your game. I've got 12 reasons why you want to do this on a regular basis. I'm going to get into it, explain it, obviously give you those 12 reasons. But look, if you're struggling at all in matches where maybe you play pretty well, not really well in practice, but you get out in the real deal, whether it's a tournament, whether it's a league match, maybe just a serious practice match. And it's kind of on the line now, right? Bragging rights, whatever. But whatever it is, the result's got to get posted. And so look, if you get nervous, anxious, tight, or really dread having to close out sets or matches on your own terms, serving it out, could be whatever, but then you're in the right place today. So we're going to take about 30 minutes. I think, I'm not sure how long this will take, maybe half an hour. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up for any questions you've got. It shouldn't take me 30 minutes to get through this, I don't think. Probably be a whole lot less than that. But then we'll just go through an AMA, ask me anything. So look, I want you guys to settle in, turn off any potential distractions, your phone, maybe got a bunch of browser tabs open if you're on your laptop or whatever, computer, close everything down, because I think you're going to really get something out of this today. And then just like I said, I'm going to go through a little presentation here and then I'm going to open it up. So look, for you guys who are first timers, don't know me at all. Let me give you my little 48-second deal here. I'm a National USA International Senior, now they call it Masters Tournament player. Also been coaching for over 45 years, got out of the club business back in 2005 once the internet became a real thing so that I could pursue and do whatever I wanted to do in terms of be able to train and go play some tournaments because this thing called the internet was there and I could start to dispense my tennis knowledge on the internet and replace that income that I had at the California Tennis Club in San Francisco, California. That was back in October of this is October 2005. So it's been 23. It's been not 23. It's been 20 plus years, or almost 20 years. Anyway, I'm currently ranked USA #1 in both singles and doubles for my 75s age group. And the new ITF World Rankings just came out yesterday, Monday the 23rd. I'm now ranked #1 in doubles and #3 in singles in the world after last week's World Individuals in Mallorca, Spain. Like I said, been coaching for 45 plus years, retired from the club business back in 2005. I started webtennis.com in 1999, so I was one of the first guys to actually try to figure out websites and help players online. And like I said before, maybe the only online player / coach still training, still playing, and teaching online. And really, what my whole philosophy here is, I don't really want to talk about theory. All I'm going to tell you is what works for me. I know some of the other guys are talking theory. That's fine. But that's not me. I'm going to tell you exactly what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me. And I'm going to give you options of things that I do that have worked, maybe not worked, and that I want you to consider them. So let's get started. And look, smooth, what is it? Well, I've got a great friend, great tennis friend. His name is Phil Landauer. And this guy's a legend. He's in the Hall of Fame of 2 different USTA sections. I think he's won close to 50 USA National Gold Balls titles. But we got together a couple of years ago, and we were just working out, and he said, Brant, he's from Oklahoma, Brant, just play Purdy. Just go out there and play Purdy. And so what that really meant to me was to go out there today and just feel smooth, right? Quote, unquote, smooth. In terms of, I'm not saying that you kind of dumb everything down, but you really want to feel that you can smooth everything out in terms of your movement. You're super clean, super efficient with your feet. Sure, your feet are working, but you're moving in a very smooth, efficient way. Swing mechanics, all that stuff, very smooth through the ball. Doesn't mean that you're slowing things down, but it's a feeling of smooth. And so today, practice with my good buddy Owen McIntosh, who lives here 5 doors down from me in the desert, Mission Hills Country Club in Rancho Mirage. My whole focus for an hour was, I just want to be smooth today, right? And so let me kind of go through the 12 different things I jotted down earlier this morning that are really the benefits of practicing being smooth. And look, when we go out and practice, sometimes what do, right? We're working on technique. We're working on this or that. Maybe your practice session is nothing more than just a fitness opportunity. That's fine. But at some point, you want to consciously just feel what it's like to be smooth. I mean, let's look at some of the guys and the gals on the tour. And I can even look at some of the masters, some of the senior players, and some guys are just so frickin' smooth. It looks effortless. And yet the ball comes off their racket heavy, right? And so you have to practice it. At least I do. And so what I'm recommending is that you go out and you do this. And so look, here are really the 12 things that I wrote down today. First of all, when you practice smooth, it gets you out of thinking result, right? Too often during points, we're thinking, God dang it, we get this little tension going. I got to win this point. It's 40-30. If I hold serve here, now it's 5-3 for me. That guy's got some pressure. And so there's this little voice popping off going, you got to win this point. You got to do this. Let's go for the winner a little bit earlier up the line. Boom, you miss it, right? You're thinking result too much in the point. And if you think smooth in your practice, it starts to transfer over to the matches where you're not thinking result, right? You're just thinking tactically where you want to hit this next shot. And if you practice smooth enough, in your matches, that feeling starts to show up. So that's thing number one. It gets you got to thinking consciously about a potential result. Here comes the incoming ball. Oh boy, I'm going to do this. I'm going up the line. It's going to be a winner. He's not going to touch it. I'm going to be up 5-3. Right? We've all done that. It's not a great way to win the point. Number two, it works on consistently focusing on good timing contact with the ball by exhaling exactly at the moment of and through the ball. So smooth for me is really, that's the focus. I want to smooth my racket swing through the ball and making sure that I'm really exhaling. I'm really blowing out, not an inward grunt, not a tight thing, but just really blowing out and exhaling through the ball as being part of smooth. And that's sort of my conscious thought, is really the timing part of the exhale. And when I do that, it just kind of makes it even more smooth as I go out through the ball. Thing three is it works on consistently good spacing, right? So what's good spacing? Spacing is that spatial distance away from the path of the ball that you got to work your feet so that you consistently get to, for example, let's say a standard forehand rally ball, so that you don't have to improvise stroke technique, right? That you get to always have the contact point pretty much at the same spot over and over again. I remember once watching, I went to San Jose, watched the men's tournament there they used to have in San Jose, and I remember watching just Andy Murray warming up, and I just watched. I was right behind him, sitting sort of on the baseline, and the warm up. My God, I mean, every ball the guy hit, there was no having to reach a little bit too far away. There was no having to sort of get out of the way at the last second. His feet just constantly were moving so that he was creating that spacing of being able to have the ball pretty much at the same spot contact-wise. And then when you do that, then you can smooth your way through the ball, right? If you're reaching too far away, or if the ball's jamming you, ball's not, you're jamming yourself, right? You haven't really moved. You haven't gotten that spatial distance away from the ball that you want. It's really tough to improvise shot. I mean, I should say stroke technique, and feel that feeling of smooth. So make sure that your spacing is really happening so that you can feel smooth. All right. Next thing is it helps me work on a more relaxed grip pressure for a higher quality spin. When I'm smooth, when the swing feels smooth, it's because I've got much more of a relaxed grip, tension, pressure, call it whatever you want. There's no death grip going on. For me, when I get a little bit too strong in the grip, what I find is that the swing speed slows down. And so the quality of the spin gets lessened. If you relax it and you feel smooth through the ball, as I mentioned earlier, I think sometimes we just hit the ball heavier. It comes off that racket heavier. And for me, I get a much, much higher quality spin. The next one is it works on not fighting the ball, right? I mean, how many times do we go out there and we're just, maybe it's the day, maybe it's the opponent, maybe it's the personality, maybe it's something that's just bugging us. But whatever it is, we're just kind of fighting the tennis ball. And for me, it ends up just kind of short arming it, right? So what I feel is when I'm going out consciously being smooth through the ball, I don't fight the ball. I let the ball come into the string bed. I let the ball slightly compress on the string bed on its own, and it releases out on its own, right? So I'm not fighting it. Next thing, works on feeling smooth after contact to allow for a complete finish without worrying about getting ready too soon, right? So this really gets into that no peaking, P-E-E-K-I-N-G, where we have a tendency sometimes, especially at the end of sets or the end of the match, where we're a little concerned. We're a little, concerned about getting over the finish line. And too often, I can't measure it, but I would be willing to bet that when we peak, when we sneak that peak at what we're about to do, happens more often at the end of sets and the end of matches than it does in the beginning, right? So for me, the feeling of smooth, I don't know, I feel like Fed, right? What he might feel like, Roger, in terms of the eyes just don't come away from the contact point, the head stays right there, and the finish, I sort of consciously try to feel smooth after contact without looking out at the landscape, and the confidence from there just really really grows. So um, that's another reason why I think that working on smooth would really transfer over to when you're playing your match. And like I said, we're not so worried about getting ready, like return to serve. Wow, we got to get ready for the next shot too early, and that sometimes is when we start to peak and disrupt swing path. All right, so the next one is works on not rushing and instead being on balance with a stable platform to swing from. That's a mouthful right there, right? So my good buddy Jeff Jackledge, who he and I did, the 365 days in a row of gold ball hunting, and one of his big things was you got to be you got to sort of create this stable platform to be able to hit the ball from, right? So it's kind of like you're sitting in a chair or you're sitting on a stool or whatever. And so you can't really get off balance when you do that, right? And if you allow the ball to come into the ideal contact point when you have a stable platform and your upper body's not too far forward. Well, for me, when I'm practicing being smooth, I get a lot more stability on my hitting platform than I do sometimes when I'm not feeling smooth. So, all right, the next one is works on being aware of the feeling of the ball through contact instead of not living in the nanosecond future. All right, that might be a little confusing. Sometimes, and I worked with Michael Wayman on this back in the day. This was quite a way back, God, like 2008, something like that, where I was having a little problem with the approach slice backhand up the line. And what he figured out was, you know what, you're living in the future right before contact. You're living in the future and you're thinking, what are the possibilities that this guy can do over there, rather than being in the moment and going, if you feel the ball and take your time, you've got the ball. He can't do anything with it. So stay in the moment and feel the ball as you go ahead and smooth your way through it. I didn't explain that very well, but for me, it's not living in the future. And the future in this case is usually, it's just a nanosecond out there in the future, but we have all these kind of what ifs. Well, what if the guy's there? Well, what if I hit it short? What if this or that? As opposed, and then you just don't feel the quality of the shot that you're hitting in that moment. So hope that makes sense. What have I got next here? It eventually works its way into your matches, right? So feeling smooth in a match means that you're not anxious, you're not tight, you're not choking, you're not living in the future. And so what I would, and I see some, I'm looking at the comments here, and I'm going to get to your questions when I'm done. I'm almost done. I promise you. So let me read that again. Eventually it works its way into your matches. Right. So when I play my best, and I played a match in Mallorca last week against a really good guy, and it was one of the team matches. And for whatever reason, I don't know if I could bottle it. My God, I could sell it. But I just sort of dropped into this, just in the warm up with this guy. It was a singles match. I just dropped into this feeling of being smooth without thinking about it. And I just played one of the best matches of my life. I mean, I just went through this guy. There wasn't anything he could bother me with. And I'm sure I missed a few shots, but it was that feeling of being smooth. And I know that it's because I practice it often enough that, and I don't know right now how to manufacture it in a match, maybe someday, but it does show up from time to time without any reason other than I've been practicing enough. So what I think, if you take this to heart, if you practice this enough and don't go out there in your practice sessions and worry about how big can I hit my forehand cross court, how much more spin can I do, and all this swing tech that we seem to get into, if you stop thinking about that and start thinking about just relax your grip, just feel smooth, have that good spacing distance with your feet away from the path of the ball. And I think what you'll find is in matches, can't tell you when and don't know why, but it will eventually start to show up. It might not show up for the whole match, but it's going to show up eventually for bits and pieces. And maybe like I had this feeling, a couple of 10 days ago against this guy from, where was he? Sweden. it was just there. And I know it's because I practiced it. So, all right, here's the next one. When you get good at smooth, okay, all right. When you get good at smooth, other players notice and you become known as the smooth stroking dude. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with someone validating that you've come off the court and they tell you, God dang it, man, that looked really good today. You looked like on balance, great hitting platform. You looked like you were taking your time. You weren't fighting the ball. You looked really smooth. So there's a difference. I mean, this match I just mentioned to you, this guy from, I don't know where he was from, he came up to me after the match and just said, that's the best I've ever seen. Or didn't mean it like that. That's the best I've seen today. And I said, come on, man, you're just working me, right? He goes, no. He says, that was beautiful. And so I think that we sometimes go out and practice being smooth and we don't know really what it looks like. And so you don't really get any validation until you practice it enough, and then you play a match, and then you come off the court and someone says to you, dude, man, you looked really smooth. And when you hear that, you know that that's the thing that you really want to continue to practice. So, and here's the last two. I think what happens, and this is, kind of my Berkeley raising woo-woo stuff right here, but hang in here with me on this. You begin to pass along the beauty of the game to others. And I just sort of think that that's one of our responsibilities as players is how do we look on the court? That's not really quite what I mean, but I think to others, I think we have a responsibility. I think we can inspire others, no matter what your skill level is, that if you look like you're under control and if you look like you're playing smooth, and you look like you're not fighting the game, because let's be honest, most players fight the game. Most players are just tense and getting pissed off and whatever. And we want to do the opposite. We want to show others that it can be played smoothly. And so I think that's one of our responsibilities. At least that's what I feel. Maybe not. And then the last one here, I just wrote down 3 words. Feels damn good. It just feels good to play that way. It feels so much better than fighting the ball. It feels so much better than bringing a lot of stress and tension to a match. And I'm not going to guarantee that if you do this, that you're never going to lose another match. But I just think that it gives you a better chance. And I talk a lot about skill level range, right? Where if you're a 4.0 rated player, some days you play up at a 4.3, you're 4.0, 4.3. And then other days, you're down in here, around a 3.7. And so I think if you work on being smooth, you'll eliminate this 3.7 stuff in here, and you'll really get a narrow skill level range where you're in the 4.3 to 4.0 stuff more often, a lot more often. And when you do that and you practice smooth, I think it'll help you get there. And I just think that's when you build confidence. When you know what you're going to bring today to the court, it's not this god dang wide range, the skill level range from 4.3 to 3.7, 3.6, whatever it is. It's really a small range in here. I should say narrow range. I've been corrected on that. You know what? Tennis is just a lot more fun. So look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this thing up for questions and hope you guys, if you don't have a question, that you at least got something out of this. I'm also going to throw this link into the comments area and hope that it posts and that it's clickable. Maybe it's not. Anyway, I do offer one-on-one coaching. And so look, if there's something that you want to work on, anything, it could be swing tech, it could be tactics, it could be mental, could be some mindset training, could be fitness, could be anything from dropping 10, 12, 15 pounds, or maybe you're already there, but you want to do some more fitness training specific for tennis. I can tell you what I do. I've had my best year far and away, not even close. And it's because I'm doing some things now that have really prevented a lot of injuries that I used to have. Chronically, my lower back but that was more stress. That was more mental stress I was bringing that was screwing up my lower back. So if there's something that you want to, and we can sort of accelerate the learning process for you if we do some one-on-one. What I offer is a 30-minute private one-on-one coaching session. I record it and then get it back to you so that you've always got a reference. And if it is some swing tech, you can just take a little thing on your phone, send it to me. Yeah, I'll give you some directions how to do it. It's super simple, and we can take a look and see. Most of the time with swing tech, it's what can we take away. Most players, if you've been playing for any amount of time, you've already got some good fundamentals, but there's all this garbage that gets on top of it from all the messages we get out there, and it's just convoluted. I don't know. Like I said, not much sleep the last couple of days. I'm a little messed up here. So anyway, so that's that. So let me go back and see what we've got here for. Got a lot of people here. David, I'll see you Thursday night in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Looking forward to that. Hey, John. John Wyatt Virgin. Yeah, man. Good to see you as always. Robin, Raleigh. Let's see. Susan Meek. What's going on, kid? Happy birthday to you tomorrow. Yeah, good, John. Smooth is an instruction that your brain understands. Yeah, all that's good. Okay. Casey, thank you. Himanshu, so how do you practice spacing? Well, first of all, what I have to do when I'm coaching someone is I'm just going to underhand feed them. If they say I want to work my forehand, for example, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to underhand feed them some really slow, easy balls. And I'm going to look at where they're, and I can hear it sometimes. And I know if the coaches on here are going to say the same thing. Sometimes when a player makes contact at just the right spot, the contact point, there's a different sound to it. And it's not that it's just crushed because they bring in tons of swing speed. There's just a different resonant sound to it, kind of a deeper sound. And that is because spacing wise, you're away from the path of that incoming ball, just the right distance. Everyone's distance is slightly different depending on your body build and all that kind of stuff. But it's not too far away, and it's not too close to you. It's not too far out in front, and it's not too slightly late where you're a little bit jammed. And so we have to discover what that is. And lots of times I don't even have to say anything more than when, and again, I'm underhand feeding, and I say to them, when it feels really good, I want you to tell me that was the one. And so then you have a reference point of what that spatial distance is away that you need to try to recreate with your feet over and over. So once they tell me, again, easy underhand feeds where they don't have to have any footwork, then when they tell me, well, this is the spatial distance that I like, I'm going, okay. So now I'm going to underhand feed somewhere they have to have some footwork, and they have to do that on their own. I'm not going to stand back on the opposite baseline and just, hit balls from 78 feet away. That's just impossible. So to answer your question is you have to know what your ideal spatial distance is away from the path of the ball. Again, forehand, for example, and you have to know where that contact point is. And then once you know, then it becomes a reference point in terms of just moving your feet so that you can always recreate that distance so you can deliver the racket to the same ideal spot. Sounds easy, but man, it takes a lot of training. And that's okay, because if you'll do the training, you'll be in the 5% of the players who will actually do it. The other 95% won't do it. So you'll be getting better and they won't. So yeah, little tough love there. Maybe old tip on spacing. Imagine railroad tracks, ball on outside track, feet in the other side. Yeah, that's fine. Good, whatever it takes, whatever the visual is for you to understand that distance away you need to be from the path of the incoming ball. Beautiful. Yeah, Chris, right. It's why the good guys never look rushed. Tony Dawson spent 17 days with Tony in Mallorca. We actually both flew in on the same day, October 5th, both left on the same day, October 22nd. And I spent a lot of time with Tony and Ellen and hit some balls with Tony, and no question. I mean, look, the guys played tennis forever. right? It is like riding a bike for him. He was a great junior, great college player. He played some on the tour, had some great wins, especially at the Italian Open. So the spacing thing for him is just automatic. There's no thinking about it. I'm sure as a kid, he had to train it, but he just does it naturally. We can all do it, but we have to train it. And if that means you have to consciously train it, Chris, for the next, here I go, some tough love for the next 12 months, so what? Doesn't matter how long it's going to take. Anyone looking for the quick fix, and you're going to be that 95% that never gets better. So get with someone who understands spacing. Get with someone who is going to inspire you and encourage you, that when you're flatlining for a long time, for a month of not feeling any improvement, or maybe even taking a little dip, is going to give you the reality check that this is the learning curve. You just got to keep going. Just have to keep going. And like I said earlier, just got to show up. Got to show up every day on that practice thing. And I can't tell you when spacing will become so instinctive and so automatic, like Tony, that you'll be that player. Good question. Let's see. Let me go here to T.R. Miller. Tim, I think, how does the concept of using coil separation angle relate to being able to execute smoother, if at all, versus using more arm or shoulder to generate pace? Wow. Look, I haven't had any sleep, man. All the tech stuff. For me, I find that if I have the right spacing distance away, and that I mentioned this earlier, if you've got a relaxed grip, I don't have to consciously think about anything. And it's like, look, we all know how to throw a ball, right? We don't have to think about how to do that. It just happens automatically. And so for me, if I'm having a relaxed grip and I've got the right spacing thing, I don't have to consciously think about rotating. It happens all by itself. It's when we get too tight in the grip that you don't feel natural with your body turning into the ball. And so I would start there. I would start with just, if you already can do that, if you've already got a rotation into the ball, consciously you have to make that happen, that's fine. But if you relax the grip, my bet, if you do that, if you relax your hand on the grip on the handle and just think smooth, I think it's going to happen. You've done enough of them. You don't have to make it a conscious manufacturing deal. I don't know. Okay, what do we got next year? There's your next teaching. What do you do for tennis-specific exercise? Tennis-specific exercise, I do a lot of sprints. And the reason I do sprints, and I do them very specifically on the tennis court, and I do them in a way where I start at the back fence and I get off to the side. So when I'm sprinting towards the other fence, I'm going by the net. Because I want to sprint all the way. I want to do the 120, right? From one back fence to the other one on the opposite side. And what I do is, before I start, is I look over there to the fence I'm going to sprint at, and I find a mark over there. Could be maybe a court number, maybe it's a water spot, a stain, maybe it's the cross with the structure of the fence. Could be anything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprint towards that spot, looking only at that spot. I'm not trying to see just how fast I can go. I want to learn how to move in such a way that my eyes can track visually, can visually track a moving tennis ball as I'm also on the move. Now look, right, the object over there is a stationary spot, right? That's fine. So you start with that, and you can do this in three different ways. You can start walking towards that spot, and you'll find that it moves slightly up and down as you're walking towards it. You can then come back to the original spot, and you can kind of jog over there, and you're going to find it starts to move up and down a little bit more when you're jogging. And then you go back to the starting spot and you sprint, and it's just fluttering over there. So if you do enough of these sprints, you can start to calm that down. Your body just learns how to move in a certain way. Remember back playing high school baseball in the spring, you'd go out for the first day or two, the ball would just be lurching at you, right? You're in the outfield, the ball's just lurching, you can't track it at all. Then for whatever reason, your body and your brain adjust to it, and then you track it. I think with tennis that it's a unique deal. We have to visually track a moving ball while we're also on the move. Golfers don't have to do it. Baseball hitters don't have to do it. They're stationary. They get to have the challenge of having to watch a moving ball, but we have a unique challenge. So my tennis fitness is basically focused on those kinds of sprints. And then when I come back after going, I'll do a little kind of a karaoke one side for 3 or 4 steps, karaoke the other side. That gets me back to maybe to the net. And then from there, I do 10 volley rehearsing lunges, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. That gets me kind of back to the starting point. And I take maybe 10 seconds and then just do the thing over again. So I like to do, every time I practice, do 5 of those, 5 or 6 of those. I have another thing I've been doing the last couple months, which is kind of brutal. But I've got a bag of 50 balls. And after I'm done, I did this for the month leading up to the going to Mallorca, is I would have my practice partner after we were done playing in the practice session, and they would take the bag of 50 balls, put them, I'd be on the baseline, and my practice partner would be standing on the tee on my side and would just underhand feed me one bounce to the right side, to the do side. I'd go over there, play it, and then he'd just underhand feed me a ball over to the left, to the ad side. I'd go over there and play it, and I did 50 of them, right? So if you go out and try, I think what you'll discover is the anaerobic part of that is by 20, if you haven't done this, you're just going, that's it, stop. Guess I hear the landscape guy out there with a leaf blower. Anyway, so, but what I do with that, obviously it's a fitness thing. And yet when I'm hitting the ball back over, I'm thinking about being smooth. I'm really trying to get as anaerobically tired as possible, at the same time be able to go through the drill and just be smooth and just feel like I'm smooth, feel like I really got the great spacing, even though it's underhand feeding. Still, man, you can't overrun it. You don't want to be reaching. You want to stay on balance, and you want to feel like you're smooth. I do some stuff in the gym. Got a cable machine. I do some easy stuff in there. I usually like to warm up with about 10 minutes on the stationary bike, 5 minutes easy, 5 minutes medium. Start to crack a little sweat by then, and then I just do this gym routine. And then I do a lot of stretching afterwards. The whole thing takes about 50 minutes, 50. It's not a killer, but it really helps. It really helps. And so I should do a video on that. Okay, so Tom, I didn't see the list of 12s you went through. Are you posting a link for a printout? Yes, I will. I will do that. That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Jeffrey. What's going on Jeff down there in Half Moon Bay, California, one of the beautiful spots in the world. Thank you. John, great stuff, almost like a yoga lesson. Exhale through shot. Be smooth with good spacing, light grip, and not 100 other things. Yeah. I mean, if you think about how many tennis balls, how many forehands, let's use a forehand example. How many forehands have we hit in our life? A gazillion. So our brain kind of knows what to do. And I think our brain's kind of waiting for us to relax and to just be smooth and to just exhale through contact like it's a relief. And that's really what it wants. And I think if we do that more often, we're going to get some better results. Let's see. I think this is Paul regarding targets, thought process before receiving shot, or do you read and feed during shot? Let's see. Regarding targets, thought process before receiving the shot, or do you read and feel during your shot? All right. So I think what you're saying is about shot choice. Let me know if that's not right, Paul. So for me, shot choice, I have trained myself to trust the first instinct that comes into my mind. Now, the first instinct is usually based on a tactic that I want to use against this specific unique opponent. It could be that I found a weakness over there. It could be a certain kind of shot. Maybe if I, and it's not so much that if I drive it to their backhand, it's weak, but maybe if I roll it more to their backhand, they don't like that. They kind of back up and hack, right? And so I'm probing. If someone I don't know, I'm probing tactically to try to find something. And then once I find something, and it could be as simple as, my God, this guy's got a monster forehand, I'm doing everything to stay away from that. So that's a tactic. And so shot choice for me is based on that tactic, right? I got tactical awareness of what it is I want to do with shot choice. And so then my brain just goes, well, if that's the tactic you wanted to deploy, then I just think instinctively our brain's going to say, do this. And way too often, I used to really doubt it. I'd just doubt that first shot choice. Well, maybe I should go up the line. Dang it. Maybe I should play a dropper. So there's like 2 or 3 or 4, maybe even more shot that come into I just have trained myself out of that, right? I just trust the instinct. I stick with it. And when I'm playing my best, I just never have a second shot choice. I just go with it. Even if the guy's standing there, I don't care. I mean, look, here's the reality is whatever shot we play, even if we hit the greatest power spin we've ever hit, right before we execute that shot, you can't stop your opponent from guessing, anticipating where you're going to go. And so they might just guess that you're going to that spot where you've just crushed that ball. And your mind was thinking, this ball's not coming back, right? There's no way this ball's coming back. And all of a sudden you look up and you go, oh my God, the guy's there. So not sure how I got on that. Anyway. So what I'm telling you is just don't doubt your first shot's instinct. Go with it. And even if they're there, the ball's likely to come back anyway. And you'll just take it from there. It's totally fine. So, and again, about targets for me, when I'm thinking target, let's say that I'm thinking I want to slide this backhand over to this guy's backhand because that's my tactic that I'm using against this guy. My target is not so much a spot on the court over there. All I'm thinking about is what's the area above the top of the net that I want this ball to pass through. And I think if I hit it there, I've just taken the baseline out of my thinking. I'm not worried about the baseline because if I play it to that spot above the top of the net, it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. What do we do on a backboard? When we go on a backboard, it's got the painted white line. All we're consumed with is I want to hit the ball so it hits the backboard above the white line. Well, that's kind of the way I think about my targets in tennis. I've got a shot directional choice. Maybe I've got a directional and a trajectory type I want, but all that's based on I'm just trying to hit the ball above the white line. That's it. How much space do I want to go above the white line? The other thing that I got this year from being able to work out with my good friend Dave Severson, who's here in the desert as well, usually is the number one guy, and this year he was the number one guy in his age group. Thank goodness he's not in my age group for about the first 3 years. Anyway, but one of the things he just would keep harping on is when we go up the line, we've got to keep the line out of it. Meaning that too often we think we're going to thread the needle and the ball just drifts out, inch, foot, 2 feet, and there's no need for that. Every time you go up the line, if that's your target, and my target again is a spot above the top of the net, I've just stopped flirting with that line so much. I'm really keeping it well inside. And what I found is that even if the ball is 3 to 4 feet inside the sideline, I've got the guy stretched out. Even if he gets there, it's not going to be much coming back. So there you go. You are welcome, Oro Temps. Yeah. What's up, Chris? Chris Ornstein. It was great to catch up with you too in Mallorca, especially that last day. I got to tell you, Chris, I'm sure you've already looked. You were the number one ranked guy in the world in our age group for, I think, a couple, 2, 3 years. And as of yesterday, that changed. And look, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, we snuck into the back door to win the world title last Saturday. But what are you going to do? I mean, you show up, that's all you can do. So always great to catch up with you, Chris, and your lovely bride. That was fun. And hopefully we'll see you again somewhere down the road soon. Yes. You hear, yes, hear you well in rainy San Antonio. Okay, Rando. All right, man. Good. Chris. Oh, no. Sick for 3 days. And okay. All right. There it is. All right. There you go. Won world title. Yeah, Chris, you're welcome. All right, Paul, thank you. Yeah, your level with what is average serve speed and accuracy percentage for first and second serves. I don't know. I don't know what my serve speed is. I'm not concerned with it. And look, my level at 75 years old is I'm a computer rated 4.5. And, I was a 5.0 for a long time and because of age. But I don't really look at serve speed. I look much more at accuracy, and I think about my serve in terms of tactically, where do I want to, either down the tee, to the body, a lot to the body, or out wide. And I want to keep him guessing. And look, in my age group, it's all relative. If you're 60 years old, you should be able to hit the serve faster than I do, right? But it's relative in terms of that opponent over there is the same age you are if you get a bigger serve. And in terms of being able to return it, all right, well, the same thing for me at my age group. So I'm thinking much more about what can I do? 2 things. Number one, can I serve to the body with enough pace? What did we talk about in the beginning here? One of the key things is spacing. And when you serve to the body, you are forcing that opponent to have to get out of the way of that incoming serve. Lots of times they don't. You tie up stroke technique when you force them to have to play the ball in front of them, right? Here's something that I've been working on a lot is that let's say I'm serving to you and I'm serving the deuce court. And what I'm going to try to do is serve as closely as I can to your body, which will force you, the only choice you have to move away to get out of the way of the path of that incoming serve is to move towards the alley, right? And so I'm going to see if I can make you do that. And if I can do that and I look up, even if I'm thinking serve and stay back, and I look up and I see that you've chosen to get out of the way by moving towards the alley, you know what? I'm coming in. I'm moving forward. You may hit a good shot from there, but I don't care because unless you've just thread the needle up the line or somehow got a great angle cross court, I'm going to be able to intercept it, maybe as a transitional volley, but I want to take your time away by moving you towards the alley and whatever it is you get back. I'm just going to throw it in the open court, come on in and go, let's go. So I'm thinking much more tactically in terms of direction. I like to serve out wide a lot because in my age group now, what happens is you get them out there, they just don't have the foot speed to come back. I mean, I'm not saying it works every time, and I'm not saying that I can't do it all the time. You got to mix it up. You got to be able to go down the tee often enough, body a lot, and out wide often enough. My second serve is really just the only difference is it's just a different trajectory. So then when it bounces over there, it bounces up and yeah, it might sit a little bit, but it's up high. It's getting up around the shoulder where they really don't have much of an advantage to be able to take, or I should say, to be able to take advantage of it. So I think more tactically. I don't think about speed. I don't care about speed so much. Just don't think it's a realistic number to worry about. And because if all things are relative, if you're playing against someone who's exactly at your skill level, they can probably return whatever big serve you've got, even if you're putting another 5 miles per hour on it. Yeah, I love it when the guys come in with something big. I have less to do All I got to do is get the shoulders turned, place the racket string bed against the ball. Thank you for splaying. So anyway, hope that helped. Where are we here? We're getting down to the end. All right. How do you, Sunil? How do you create side distance for swing volley? With your feet. And I don't mean that flippantly, but you've got to find out what is your ideal point of contact with a swinging volley. I'm assuming it's on a forehand, and what's the distance away from it? I can't tell you what yours is. I know what mine is, and mine won't be the same as what yours is, just because we're built differently, right? And we have different skill sets in terms of swing. That's fine. Doesn't matter. I know for me, I know what the spacing distance is, and I know where my contact point is. But I know also that if I go with a swinging forehand volley, I have to raise my target way up there, because normally on my forehand volley, I'm going with the old standard open face. I want the ball to slide and skid over there. And so it doesn't clear the net by that much. It's got some margin of safety. But if I am thinking that target with the swinging volley, it just falls off the table and goes to the net. So I have to artificially tell myself on those rare times when I hit a forehand swinging volley, worst case, hit the thing out. And typically if I do that, it doesn't ever go out. So, and then he's asking here, how do you handle the short ball in the backhand? How do I handle the short ball in the backhand? I play, either I'm playing an approach, mostly right, if it's short where I don't have a lot of good geometry going over the high part of the net, I will either probably go right back at the guy deep, assuming he's back in the baseline, right down the middle, try to cut down some angles, or I'll make it look like I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to go ahead and play a little drop shot. John, Brent, I loved what you said the other day about aha moments being 5% of what must come next. Yeah, John, I think that's really true. I think we get into these aha moments, these epiphanies, whether we're watching a video or maybe we're watching a match, and you go, oh, that's what I've been working on. That's what I see, whatever. And now we think we've got it. And we try to go out there and take that epiphany, and it's really disappointing. The epiphany is the start. It's maybe the 5% of the overall learning curve. And the epiphanies we got to have, because we have to have a vision of what it is we want to accomplish with whatever that thing is. But you just got to really be thinking long term. You got to think long term. And if you don't, I think this game is going to drive you out of your mind. So my belief has always been that if you have the epiphany and you believe that you can get the right information in terms of, well, how do I recreate that thing that I just saw? And then you are dedicated to going out there and just practicing that thing like a monster. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You can't stop the freight train of improvement from happening if you will just let it go and not try to force the result, not try to force the outcome, and just decide that you're going to be one of those 5% guys or gals who are just going to keep going until it finally drops in. And it's going to drop in if you keep doing that. So, Johnny B, what's up, son? Hazard, Kentucky. Yes, sir. Brent, none. Are you out practicing on the court mostly every day? And so do you have a system for setting the practice partners each week? I got a great deal here. I mean, I got a great deal at the Mission Hills Country Club. I mean, our backyard are all the tennis courts, right? So we've got a house here that's literally a 30-second walk from grass court 10. We've got 10 beautiful grass courts. We've got 4 clay that are decent. And we got a whole boatload of hard courts, which I rarely play on. So I do try to play. I should say this. I do try to take a forced day off now and then. Even in the summertime, I've got a handful of guys here that I can call on and practice. And it's kind of fluid. We never really know. I wouldn't say from day to day, But who it's going to be from week to week. Some guys are in town, some guys are out of town. Once the winter hits here in the desert, we get a lot of people that are live in two different places. This is one of them. They come in, and I just got I got a bevy. I think that's the word, of guys that I can choose. And usually there's someone who just, guys are calling you up. So, but I've got the ideal kind of practice partners who I can go anytime I want and say, hey, look, for the first 20 minutes, can we do this one thing? And I'm always going, and then I'll reciprocate. If there's something you want to do for the next 20 minutes, we'll do that. But I've got guys who are going, fine, let's do it. Let's do it. So, there's sort of a culture here in terms of, we're tournament players. Not everyone I practice with is playing. No one I practice with is playing as many tournaments as I have, and especially this year. But I've got guys who will do whatever I want. So I think you got to find those guys, and you got to really, once you find a guy like that who will do it, wow, take care of that guy. I mean, box of cookies every week. I don't know what it is, but give them something, man. Take them out to dinner once every couple of weeks. Make sure they know how much you appreciate what they're willing to do. And I just think sometimes we're not resourceful enough. If you literally can't find someone who will do some drill with you, then maybe you need to enter a tournament. Maybe you need to get into a league somewhere and find these guys, because if someone's playing tournaments, they're probably willing to do some practice. They probably know some people. You got to get resourceful. There's one of my practice partners right there, the great Kevin Kearney. Sometimes from Irvine, California, sometimes from the desert. Just about a 3-minute walk right down there. What's up, Kev? Guys, thank you for all the birthday wishes today. I really appreciate that. 75 is a big, fat, chubby number. But it's just a number. Man, it's just a number. So don't give in. Don't ever give in. Just keep working your ass off out there. Let's look at some more comments here. Thanks, Brent. Where you located? Sunil, right now I'm in Rancho Mirage, California desert. You're welcome on the questions, Johnny B. Yeah, let's see. Anyone else here? I guess that's it. I guess that is it, man. So, all right, guys, we've been on for an hour and 2 minutes. I hope you got something out of this today. Here's what I'd like you to do for me is to just take a minute and just send me an email. And my email address is brent@webtennis.com. And let me know if there's one thing that really kind of got you today. Let me know what that is. Because the more I hear from you guys and the more I hear what those one things are, the more I know, I got to spend more time on that. And so I'd really, really appreciate it. Just take a minute, no more, 60 seconds. Shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. And then let me post this one more. I don't know if this link is coming out clickable or not. If it is, cool. If not, copy, paste it. If you want to do some private one-on-one session with me, it's a 30-minute deal. I record it so that it's a video, comes out, and we do it like right here on StreamYard, and I can record it, and then I can send it to you, and you've always got it there to reference. I do have a fee for it, small fee. I think it's really, really well worth it. But one thing it does is it's not where you have to, if you're trying to figure out something on your own to do it yourself, that can be tough sometimes. A trained pair of eyeballs looking at what you're trying to work on, especially if it's swing tech. How great are these things, man? The phone, just if you want, let's say you're working on your forehand, just get someone to hold the phone. Don't track the ball with it. Just hold the phone and take 2 or 3 of your forehands. That's all I need, about 15 seconds. And send me an email, attach it to an email, and we'll get to work. If it's a long video, we can look at that too. I can show you how to put that into Dropbox or something else so you can upload it there. But would love to work with you. And this will speed up your learning curve on that thing, whatever that one thing is. So it's a bit of doing it with you, right? I can't do it for you. I don't have a pill here that will just instantly give you that forehand. But I know sometimes the DIY is tough. And one of the challenges with doing it yourself is we tend to try it and then something doesn't work. And then we go on YouTube and we start hunting around and find something else. And it's just a never ending digging down a rabbit hole of trying to figure that thing out where I'd love to help you. So if there's something really that you want to work on, again, go to that website there, and you can go ahead. You'll make payment, and then you get to cherry pick a date and time that works best for you for our 30-minute session. And there's Tom Severson final in National Clay versus Joaquin Moscato. Yeah, Joaquin Moscato, the real deal for sure. All right, guys, I'll stay on another minute or two. If you've got some questions, and look, I really appreciate you guys showing up today. This is great. I want to do this more often. I'd really like to get out, and if I can't see you in person, for me to be able to do this live and read your comments and your questions, it really helps me stay better connected to you, knowing much more what it is you want to work on. So shoot me an email, Brent, Brent at webtennis.com. Let me know, was there one thing today that really kind of got in your head and you said, yeah, I want that thing. And let me know. And then that link is right there, webtennis.com/one-on-one coaching. Enroll here, a bunch of dashes in there. Would love to get together with you. Anything else, guys? Let me know. Let's see. Tom, I'm doing the drop, hit, fed, head still, and agree one can hear the clean shot. Yeah, that's a great drill, isn't it, Tom? Where I like to, once a week, I take my bag of 50 balls and I just hand feed them to myself and drop and hit 25 forehands, 25 backhands, and obviously looking at the ball at contact, but not picking my eyes up, not looking out, and feeling what's the height over the top of the net, how much spin, where did it land, what was the feeling of the pace. And it's remarkable. It won't take you very many to where you start to really identify without having to get a visual confirmation by sneaking a peek out in the landscape. We know what happens with that sometimes. Disrupts the swing path just enough, unforced error. So that's a great drill. Good, Tom. Glad to hear you doing that. Just do it a lot. Do it a couple times a week. And 25 forehands, 25 backhands. It's going to show up. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for me. Unless there's anything else coming in. I don't see anything else, so we're good to go. All right. Brent at webtennis.com. Short email, one sentence, 5 words, whatever it is. Just let me know what's the one thing that kind of struck a chord with you today. I'd love to know what that is, and I appreciate it. Guys, as always, we got to get out there today. We got to help someone else have a great day. See you guys again next time.